Hi guys, welcome to Cruising Tarot. I'm doing another real crime tarot series on my channel. If you guys like these kind of videos, please like, share, and subscribe so I can continue to grow. Alrighty. Warning, this has a very sensitive topic. If you guys are not used to or don't want to be talking about sensitive topics like this, just don't watch it. Period. Just don't watch it. Okay? I'm here for entertainment purposes. I have to say that I don't provide any proof nor evidence. This is just tarot. I am just being honest. I'm not a psychic. Not everything's 100% sure that comes out on tarot. But I do focus on clarity and truth. I'm just upfront and honest about what I'm doing here. Okay, so who I pick certain people based on the shows I've been watching, and then sometimes just something that people have been talking a lot about, and that's how they get my attention sometimes. But it's something like, I don't know how it is, how it feels almost like I'm drawn to do a reading, if that makes any sense. I'm drawn to make a reading for these certain people. I think I remember seeing flyers or something about this girl, like on the show or a movie or something. I don't know. It just, her face seems very familiar. And I just wanted to do one about this one, okay? So I'm going to ask very tough questions, some kind of, and again, this is just tarot. All right, so let me go ahead and get my stuff together. And we're going to put a bunch of cards and go over certain subjects and questions. Okay, so I'm going to put the link in the description box for any information there. And if you guys have more information about this, please add it on the comments. And I might do more than one part. It just depends if I run out of room or time, because I'm expecting a call also. So I might have if it says part 1, that's because there's part 2. All right, so here we go. Who is this person we're talking about? Her name is, hopefully I say it correctly, Leeann Hausberg. Okay, from New York City. I believe New York. I believe she was 14 years old when she disappeared. It was on March 18, 1999 is when she went missing. The last time someone seen her was her sister. I don't think there was a bad relationship. Her sister was very young, so I really don't think the sisters had nothing to do with it. And you'd be surprised sometimes what the outcome is. Certain situations here when you watch the show, there has not been a solution to this case, and this is the reason why I've went ahead and taken it. I did read a couple of things. Okay, this is what I read. She was with her mom and her stepfather and her 2 siblings. Okay, so it was still a home, but she didn't have her. I don't think she knew her biological father very well. He was, I believe, native, and he lived somewhere in Nebraska. And she did have a diary, and it talked a lot about many things. And one of them was that she desired to reconnect with her father up in Nebraska. So that's one of the things. She really hated her stepfather. But is that typical of 14 years old? When you're becoming a rebel sometimes, everybody goes through rebel age, you know? And maybe you just don't like your parents, period. I think they went through a harsh period, especially with more pressure to do more within the family. She would have to step it up. What I mean is that her mom had a stroke of some sorts, and she was not able to physically be mobile or physically to do as much, and she was expected to do more, and that maybe could have potentially add more pressure to her life. So she was not happy about that. I mean, who is happy about someone being ill or sick? Okay, so let me see what else is here. And that was 6 months before she went missing, as her mom went through that stroke. She did have some history of bad habits. I don't think very serious. I think it was just like skipping school, maybe doing minor. I wouldn't be surprised, like the way they make it out to be in the show, that she was probably just skipping school and getting into trouble, but nothing major like jail time trouble, in my opinion. Okay, she did have a boyfriend at the time. Maybe he called himself a so-called boyfriend. I wrote notes, okay? So I guess he called himself a so-called boyfriend. I would see that a red flag, but you have to remember the time. He was like 14, 15 years old too. And this is a long time ago. This is 22 years ago, about or more. All right, so I really am not getting the feeling the boyfriend had anything to do with this. I don't think he has anything he's hiding or information. I think now that he's a parent himself, if he had some information that would lead to her finding, I would assume he would actually say something now because he understands now as a parent. Okay. And I really don't think he had anything to do with it. This is just my opinion based on watching the show alone. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I haven't pulled the cards, right? So they did have an argument, her and her boyfriend, over the phone before she went missing. The day before she went missing, he didn't really say specifically why, but they're, what is it, junior high students at the time? What could they be fighting about? I'm not too sure. Let's see here. Is there any other information we gotta... Okay, one very, very, very interesting piece of information. Again, she was getting in trouble. Who at that age goes to parties and meets adults? She did meet someone who was 18, 19, or 20 years old at a party. I mean, when you're mixing, you know, junior high with high school and college student age, it's not a good combination. So obviously she was not supposed to be there. So that's one of the things she was doing that was not right to do. So that's one of the, you know, things that she was getting in trouble with, possibly. Okay, so she met this guy, didn't really say his name because he's not being charged or he's not the prime suspect. But honestly, I would look at him as a suspect because he was in contact with her a few days before. And then the day she went missing, supposedly, or the day before she went missing, she made a call to the company he worked for, which is a taxi service company, at 6 a.m, or she received a call from there, one or the other. I think she called there, sorry. And then a taxi came to pick her up around 9 a.m. or something like that, or dropped her off somewhere around 9 or 10 a.m. And then the taxi driver also happened to make a call from his phone to the person she knew from that business, the one she met at the party. So I found that very interesting. So they did question him. They questioned the owner. The owner almost seemed like either... I really didn't get that he didn't remember. I really do feel like he didn't want to deal with this mess. That's the energy that I got with his answers. This is serious. Someone's missing their child. You don't dismiss it, and you don't like it's not important, or it's just an inconvenience for you. And that's the energy that I got in the show, that this guy at first was like, I just don't remember. And I don't think he possibly had anything to do with the actual deal, or if something happened between her and the employee there, which was the cleaning person and the taxi driver. But I do feel that it was very ethically or morally wrong for him to act like it's, I don't remember, I'm going to brush this off. Okay. He did call back and seem a little bit more willing to work, but still didn't really have anything to work with. So could have just tried to cover it up so he doesn't get in trouble? Possibly. Maybe he's protecting his business over truth, or over a minor missing that the family could give answers to. All right, so let's see here. What else did I have? Now, the reporter or the investigator on the show has been trying to get more information from New York City or New York PD, and they did not seem to be wanting to work with her because it's an ongoing case for 22 years. Okay, 22 years. What could possibly we do to hurt a case that's been ongoing for 22 years? I'm just saying. I'm not questioning them. There's a lot of hardworking, that they do care. They have a lot of heart. Police officers out there, investigators, detectives, whatever you want to call, any department or any job, whatever title. But 22 years and you're worried about hurting the case somehow. I think if you have someone that has the time and the energy, because I think the police officers, investigators, and all these people in certain places, especially a place like that, you guys are shorthanded. You guys are stressed out. You guys are probably, have a lot of stress going through this job. I understand. I'm not accusing them of not wanting to do something just because, or the good old boy kind of attitude. I don't think so. I think that might have been more the case back in the 50s and 40s and 60s, And what I mean is, like, for example, me, when I went to the hospital, I was in so much pain. Just give you an example here. And I went in there and there were some nurses. One of them especially rolled her eyes at me and was not in a hurry to see what was going on with me. There was not a lot of activity happening at the hospital at the time. And I was in constant pain. It was getting worse and worse. And the reason I felt the energy I was getting is like, oh, here we go. Another person on drugs, another person on drugs, you know? And I've never done drugs. I'm telling you the truth, never. And I can't afford it. And the funny part is after I accused them and yelled at them and started cussing, then all of a sudden they just wanted to do the blood work to make sure everything was fine. What does that mean? They wanted to see if I was on drugs. So anyways, after a while, and then I accused them, I'm going to leave. If something happens to me, it's going to be your fault because you guys are doing anything anyways. And I'm going to go to another hospital and see what's going on. Finally, they came up, and after I gave them a really hard time, and then they went and took some scans, and guess what? I needed my appendix removed. So thank God I threw a fit because that nurse was obviously a psychic, and she knew I was on drugs, and I couldn't convince her otherwise. So this is what I mean. They already know the answer, and then they're just tunnel vision on what they think the outcome is instead of just doing your damn job. That's one of the problems I think I see, and I think more in the 50-60s when it comes to the police. But anyways, enough for ranting on that. Let's keep going and see what else I got here. The last thing, the most important information about this is that they called and they said the only people, supposedly, allegedly, that would be at this Bruins transit company would be most likely a mechanic and or a cleaner. All right. But yet, the taxi man came to pick her up later. So I found that interesting. So I believe that the taxi man and the person cleaning were really close together. They had some kind of connection here, obviously. All right, so I'm leaning towards that, but that's just my opinion. I'm just pull the cards and see what comes up. So there is a possibility of potential runaway / suicide, only because, or on self-unalive, sorry. But because what she mentioned in the journal, that's the only thing. That's the only thing. But there's a lot of people that talk about it. She put it in a journal that anybody could have read, and I think that's just a cry for help. I just don't feel like it would be that, but let's see. And then, so I'm going to look at that potential. I'm going to look at local family, friends, or the community, someone really close to her somehow. And then the taxi driver or the cleaner. I'm going to just go ahead and look at her boyfriend, pull some cards on that. And then I'm going to look at a stranger that she possibly, what I mean is this. Let's say that she was wanting to just go away for a little bit or just try to see how it would feel to run away. And then she came across a stranger and saw an opportunity. That could have happened too. She's 14, she's young. People will see her as an opportunity to do, things. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at Nebraska, people in Nebraska here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. There's a few questions. I'm going to go ahead and start with her. And then if you guys what do you guys think about these readings? Again, there's no evidence. This is just tarot. I just do it because I find it very interesting. So let me go ahead and pull some cards. All right, so let's go ahead and get an overall energy on who Leeann Marie, her energy, like what represents her. Let's just put it that way. Leeann Marie. Okay, so I think her energy is focused on about like investment, working here, like waiting. And then this person, okay, so it almost tells me like someone was waiting. This person has the energy of waiting for some kind of justice, some kind of balance here. I'm waiting for my justice. I am waiting for my justice here. And then holding on to this idea of a justice. You know what? I'm just going to say, I think if just based on the show, which is ridiculous for me to say that, I'm not trying to downgrade any investigations or police officers or anything like that. They're smart. They'll figure a lot of shit out and stuff. I'm just saying that me watching it as a, I don't know, a random, crazy, obsessed person with criminal shows and stuff. I don't know. I just wonder about the stepfather. You know, I wonder about the stepfather if I had to figure out somebody that, on the show. They haven't mentioned anybody else in the family. So that would be one of the persons that would be, you know, interested in if it's somebody inside her family. Her father, a biological father, is her family, but she didn't know him, so I don't, he's kind of like a foreign person in my opinion because he's not there. This person, Leeann, Marie, okay, I'm gonna tell you this, and I know it sounds, I'm trying to see this as positive as possible because she is the victim here, potentially or allegedly. I honestly think this person thinks her life was, in general, was unfair. I feel something in her life felt just totally unfair. She might have compared her life with too many people, possibly. And I'm not talking about anything major like having money. No, just having something that she cherished or wanted or loved. And then she could potentially hold a grudge. Anything else? Okay. In her energy, we also have 2 kings here. That can represent 2 major male role models in her life. All right, possibly. This is someone cold and detached. But more about the truth. And then they have the King of Wands. To me, is someone that can tell you what you want to hear. It is the type of person, in my opinion, sometimes it comes across to me as someone who's really good with their words, but not with their action. They will not back it up with their actions here. Okay, so we have 2 kings here. All right. And this also talks about her potentially being that type of person where she was just feeling cold and detached anymore. And then she was trying to overcome some kind of challenge also. Okay, let's talk about, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pull cards on her family. The family she was living with, like her biological mom, her sisters, and her stepfather. Tell me the overall energy that was happening at the home before her disappearance. That's important for us to know. During, like when she went missing, like a few days before, and during her missing, right after she went missing, and then now. Before. The overall energy for her family. Bio mom, stepdad, sisters, the house there. Okay. And then the middle of it all, when she went missing, right before she went missing, and a little bit after she went missing. Okay, and then now. Okay, so before, there was a lot of work and effort. There's a lot of work, paying attention to detail happening within the home. So I know they mentioned that she needed to work a lot now, almost be an adult, become the mom of the house. Okay, so then now we have here the Fool right before she went missing, during, like when it happened, and then right afterwards. You know, there was some kind of freedom energy here. So someone wanted to free themselves. I don't know who. It could have been someone within her family trying to free themselves from her, or her trying to free themselves from the responsibility, maybe the burdensome situation here. Okay. I don't know. I'm not getting the energy that she was trying to go to someone specifically, because I feel if the diary, I want to question the diary sometimes, was accurate, why not mention someone and your feelings towards someone, you know, completely? Like if she fell in love with the person she was meeting, if she was meeting someone at the transportation company, why not mention him a lot more, right? And then right now, I think the energy of the family is trying to heal, just holding on to some kind of emotion from the past. and just trying to heal and asking for support. So, okay. All right, let me look at the questions. I wrote some questions I wanted to ask here really quick. Okay, how did she, let's just do that one. Let me see what card I'm gonna choose. I like to use that card deck, but let me, okay, let me grab this. Okay, let's see what we've got for you guys. These are questions I'm gonna ask about Leeann Marie. 14-year-old girl missing. Still missing after over 22 years ago. I may ask a few questions and it may continue to other readings or it may stop, but we'll see. Okay. How does she feel? Or like, I'm trying to think of the proper word here. Okay. This is my feelings too card deck. Okay, and let me grab some more cards. I'm looking around for my cards that I would prefer to use for these kind of readings. These, that's for a person. If I read it, there's somebody else involved. Okay, I'm missing one more card deck, but I'm gonna make it work with without that one. Okay, so let's see. How does she feel? The little girl I'm picturing, the little girl from New York, been missing for over 22 years. What was going through her mind? What was she feeling the day she went missing? What was going on? Show us clarity and truth. Alrighty, sorry my chair squeaks, okay, and I haven't bought another one, so okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what I think this means. This is my opinion because it's my reading. If you see something else, go with that. Not that I don't appreciate anybody else's opinion, but I'm just saying I'm just going with what I'm reading, what my gut, my feelings, whatever. Images. Okay, so here we go. I know it says spiritual gifts, right? But sometimes I take the image on this situation. So at the time, something about her peace, but I think it's her intuition she was turning her back on. It's like someone that knows better about something. Like, I don't want to say common sense, but she was 14 years old, guys. She's a little maybe naive, possibly. I've had to grow up really fast when I was young too. But, you know, something about not listening, turning your back on intuition here. Okay, so funeral talks about sadness or ending, right? And wanting to create something new. So it could be, it's like, it's over now because I'm not making accusations. I'm just going to read it two ways. It's over for me now because I'm pregnant. Or it's over my connection that I have with someone biologically. All right. It could be something like that. Okay. I think someone had a lot of anxiety, trying to make decisions. They felt like the time is running out and they thought they figured out the answer. Like this was the answer. This is the answer. So there is a possibility that she might have initially taken off. Just because someone takes off, that doesn't mean they deserve to go through bad things in life. That doesn't mean that she's okay right now, just because she took off. I would assume, just saying, typically if, I know they got a call from someone not too long after she went missing, and someone told her, like, she's fine, leave us alone, or something like that. And it was a female voice, possibly, and they didn't recognize it. So obviously somebody knows. But how long can you go missing without someone finding you? Eventually, with technology these days, someone will find you. And if it's that bad, I mean, I'm not getting the energy the family was that horrible. Can you at least come home and just tell them, I'm fine, I don't want nothing to do with you, and leave again if you want to? Just to give them that peace of mind, at least. It's better than not knowing what happened. I'm just saying. Okay. All right, so I'm going to ask this question. If there's anybody involved with her disappearance, not necessarily, if possibly someone who helped her disappear, or someone that's kept her disappeared. Let's see what's going on with them. What's going on with them at the time, right now, in the future. At the time when she went missing. Let's see what's going on with them. Let's pull like 2 each or something. Okay. Okay, at the time, right now. Oh my gosh. And in the potential future. Again, it's potential. Everything can change. Anything can change. I'm just letting you know, look. They're different cards. I have one card deck that has 2 cards twice, but I think I got rid of that one a long time ago. One, yeah, twice or doubles. Okay, so in the past, when initially she went missing, if there's somebody that was involved with her disappearance and or involved with her still disappearing, there's something about being rejected by popping the question. So popping the question not necessarily means marriage. It can be a union, coming together. There is some kind of rejection here, or fear of rejection. As of right now, there's secrets, and they're just living in the moment. I would assume this person is just living in the moment because they think no one's got anything on me. Sorry, my marker and pen kind of just went crazy on here. But anyway, so it's like, and this one's a pinch, by the way, on my finger. But so secrets, I'm gonna keep this a secret until I die because I'm living in the moment. No one's gonna figure this out. And the potential future here is massive regrets and secret accounts. Massive regrets. So there is a potential someone's going to find some kind of social media, something that was meant to be secret. It's going to be exposed. And this person's now all of a sudden they're going to feel regretful. They're not feeling regret here. See? No regret. But only in the future after the secret account. So there may be someone that was involved at least with her disappearance. And that's what it's showing me. All right, so give us a clue on the person that was involved with her disappearance and or involved with her disappearance still happening now. So in other words, if something happened to her or she's being kept unwillfully, tell us about that person or persons. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more than one person involved in all this situation, to be honest with you. Theft, investigation, accusations. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Give us some cards about the persons. How would we know who this person, especially at least give us one that would lead us to the rest. At least one that would lead us to the rest. Who's involved in her disappearance? Leeann Marie, and or her still being gone. Okay, in the other card decks, 2 kings came out. Okay. Well, that's a lot. I'm just gonna take that and then I'm gonna make one more thing. Okay, so we have here doctor, right? Says someone that works in the healthcare industry. Okay, and then the intentions are masked, keeping your cards closed, obscure. Okay, so I honestly, I don't think maybe there is a doctor or a medical personnel involved in this. Maybe not, maybe so. I don't think so. I think this person hiding so much about this was eating them alive. Not because they feel guilty. Not because they feel guilty, but because they're worried they're going to get caught. So there's a possibility here that this person who is sick because they have to, you know, hide their, be more careful about how they mask things, is hurting them health wise. And the reason is because they don't want to get caught. They don't want to suffer through this, how they made someone else suffer. All right, so someone here in nightmarish, okay. It's someone who's very bossy. It could have been a businessman with really horrible business ethics. All right, so someone who has very toxic, very hard to deal with, someone who's really bossy and manipulative or controlling. Could have been a boss, could have been businessman. All right, or could be now if they weren't then. A trap seeks to insert a snare a specific target using trickery and subversion. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. There's a trap, right? Okay, so there is, and it's yellow. The cheese is yellow. It kind of reminds me of what I think what a taxi car would be. Okay, so there's somebody here. Was trying to hide who they were, maybe to her, or maybe they try to hide it to other people, and then they're trying to remove themselves from the situation, and they have no desire to have the conversation about this, and they're trying to regroup with someone else, I think, to talk about, to make sure we're both on the same story, or both have the same alibi, or have alibis or something like that. Okay, now we have the king. Okay, there's a king here. So this could mean someone that could be a businessman, someone who has money, someone who has a title, someone who has a lot of respect, and it could be church related to respect. There's something that's going to be discovered. Someone's missing. If someone finds this piece of evidence, that it will lead to something here discovered. There's something about this king, or this king can lead to a piece of evidence here that would lead to the solution or what happened. Okay, let's go and see. Let's ask the question, like, what happened? All right, and the day before, the day she went missing, and the most important stuff that happened with her after she went missing. The most important things that happened to her after she went missing. Was this one to come out disgraced? Okay. Go ahead and pull. See what happened to Leeann Marie the day before that we need to know about, the day she went missing, and the most important things that happened to her right after she went missing. Show us truth and clarity. I'm just gonna pull. Nope, that's too many. Big chunks like that, sometimes, unless it feels right, I'm not taking it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Give us truth and clarity. Give us truth and clarity. Oh my gosh. Okay, that king came out again. Okay, so I don't know in what order because they just came out, but there's somebody who is stalking somebody here. Someone was watching someone being forced to leave something behind. Okay. We have here supernatural evil, a threat. Okay. Someone here, I think, what I want to say is this. Maybe she felt something was really toxic and she was lacking anyways. And that kind of encouraged her to leave or want to leave or look for a solution to her unhappiness. Whoever this person is someone that you would not think who it was, or she saw as very different, possibly weird looking. There's possibly that they live far away or took her far away. Maybe she already felt alienated anyways. She didn't feel like she belonged. Or this person was the type of person who like would stick out in the group a lot. And then there's a butterfly effect, a single action that has multiple consequences that influences both past and future. All right, so we have tracks again. And mysterious tracks or footprints are discovered. Okay, so there's some kind of evidence, there's some kind of ritual happened here. And before you think, oh, satanic, I mean, you hurting somebody physically should be already considered that, but a lot of people don't consider that. But it could be a marriage. It could be something very repetitive. They hold very, they value much. A lot of, it's what I mean is, they have a certain ritual that they do, whether it's good or bad. There's a ritual that they do. And there's evidence. I think there was an evidence. Something was like, should have been one piece of evidence or something that should have been followed. Okay. And it's the same freaking cards. The king came out again with the same freaking cards. Okay. So someone who authority or no power. Okay. So yeah. What I see the king, it could be many things, okay? Someone that influenced her a lot because she looked up to. Maybe someone who had money, very experienced, seemed intelligent to her. Someone that could have been a father figure or a father to. Someone who was just controlling, a businessman. It could be many things. All right, let's go ahead and continue with our questions. All right, can you give us more clues on what happened? Anything that would help to find out what happened with her or who was involved. Anything that would help for Leeann Marie. I think she's a Leo, by the way. She's a Leo sign. And I have a sister and a future daughter-in-law who are Leos. Okay. This one wanted to come out, mind control. See, it just like popped out other way. Anyways, I'm not going to take it right now, but that could have something to do with it. All right, so here we have healing. Okay, and go into calmer waters. There's nobody in bed though. So she needs to heal in order to go to calmer waters, or something about that. Something's already been healed and she went to calmer waters. There's some kind of cult here. And then there's an accident that happened. So this group of people, to me, cult has to do with mind control. Cult has to do with things that are not normally seen as traditional, good, or beneficial for everybody. Cult, it's usually always benefits one group of type of people. One person, or a group of people, or a type of people, or a gender. I say if it's a religion, I don't care if you call it a religion all day long, but if it usually benefits one gender and oppresses the other gender, that's a cult. Okay, with this, there was an accident when it comes to this. All right, there's dismemberment and there is a meeting. So the meeting, okay, a group of people decided, or more than one person decided that this was an accident. It was not their fault, or made an accident happen. Dismemberment meeting. So the same group of people possibly, when they got together, with this Leeann Marie, the meeting went to crap. And then there's some kind of lies or illusion here, or tricking somebody here, and it has to do with drugs and poison. All right, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not claiming this as being true. I'm just saying this tarot. Oh, I hope I was recording the whole time. Now I don't know if I click the button and see what else happened with Leeann Marie. What happened? Why is she gone? Why is she gone? Why she hasn't come back home? Does she not want to come back home? If she's not physically able to come back home, what's happening here? What is this? Alrighty, I'm going to maybe do 1 or 2 more stacks, and then I'm going to continue the actual questions that we need to ask on the second video. I think I'm just going to cut it short because I have other things I need to do, and I apologize. Alright, so here, there's something that's been overdue. It's almost karmic though. There's some kind of justice or some kind of lesson or some kind of something here was overdue. Like some kind of karma is overdue here. Is what it's talking about. Okay. Alright, someone's playing games. Someone's playing games, mind control, some kind of tactic here. And I don't know if they're intimidating somebody here, or this person is like, they feel like they have a tactic here when it comes to legally. Like if they, it could be like, I'll just keep my mouth shut. There's nothing they can do about it. They're not forcing, they don't have anything. All right. So here, this, whoever this is person always wins because they're very controlling and threatening. So this person has the best outcome for themselves, and maybe they do have money now. But I think this person hit the jackpot when it comes to her. At the time, they felt lucky to come across her, and I don't mean in a good way. And then it was easy to intimidate. Okay, so fake flexing. I don't know if this happened in the past or it's happening now or what the situation here. Someone here was trying to portray something that they are and to impress somebody else, and the other person was not interested. They had something to offer and the other person was not interested. Okay, then we have somebody creeping, keeping an eye on things, trying to get intelligence, because someone is being careless. And then we have a yellow type of vehicle here. So maybe someone's keeping tabs on someone else because there could have been more than one person involved, or someone knows something and they don't want to get in trouble, but they are keeping an eye on someone else before they say something that may lead up to something else. Okay. Let's see what other cards I'm going to pull. Let's see here. Anything else on Leeann Marie, who's the person who had or persons who had something to do with your disappearance. And then I'm going to ask in the second video all the yes or no questions. The tough questions. All right. Let's see. Leeann Marie, who had anything to do or what happened with your disappearance? Why are you still gone? Why haven't you come back? This is the last one because I think I need to leave pretty soon. But okay, so this, okay, I'm just not gonna read it. I hate saying this kind of stuff, especially for a 14-year-old. She was meeting someone, and I don't know if that was expected or not, but wherever this happened, It happened far away or something that was just really out of this world. Like she was not expecting that at all. Okay, and then we have someone here, mutant, and then the beating heart here. So I think it's someone who is very repetitive. Maybe they, what is the word I'm thinking here? I don't think mutants or zombies are annoying, but they're not the fastest. Okay, they're not the fastest. And they lack heart because their heart's not pumping, so they don't have any emotion here. And they possibly are not even the fastest or the slowest, but they still would prey on something that's easy access for them. Then we have, look, another vehicle here. And then we have deserted highway. So they were taking her on a long trip. Maybe it may not seem like if, you know, they took her 5 miles away, but for her, it felt like a long trip, okay? And the little thing says, hope you enjoyed your stay. Come again soon. So, okay. All right, this is all I got, and I'm going to pull the tough questions on the status and condition of her and ask specific questions on the people that I would think they would find as suspects to see if it comes yes, no, maybe when it comes to if they were the ones involved in her disappearance. All right, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.